Hey, how's everyone doing? Hope you had a good weekend. We're gonna start from the last video, getting into the iSearch paper proper. So, real quick, I wanted to get into the assignment description, which is located within the course materials folder for project number 2. So you can take a look at that if you haven't already, but I'm just gonna go over some key points that you should be on the lookout for when you're writing this paper. So it's composed of 4 parts. And as you can see here on the screen, it's going to be used to explore, develop research skills, and then your ethos as a researcher. So we talked about ethos in Project One, the credibility. In a nutshell, you're going to pick a topic and compose a research question or questions about that topic. After that point, you're going to conduct a investigation of some secondary sources to research your question, to find out more information about it. It may lead you to an answer to your question, to more questions, things of that nature. So you're basically searching for information here based on your topic of interest and your particular questions or set of set of questions that you want to focus on. So the prompt's pretty simple. You're going to need to pick a topic and then compose a question or a set of questions related to that topic. As far as length, it's going to be about 1,500 to 2,000 words. So you're going to focus on anywhere from 4.5 to about 6 pages is what you're looking for here. And again, Times New Roman 12, double spaced MLA format. That's the total length. But we want to focus on that word count. You want to hit at least 1,500 words, no more than 2,000 words. So be aware of that as you move forward. So pretty much what does the paper look like? We're going to look at some examples here in a few minutes. But it's going to be composed of 4 parts. So part one is actually composed of 2 parts, what I knew and why I'm writing the paper. So in this part, you want to basically put down some information, what you already know or what you think you know about your topic. You want to go into your research question, what you know, what you think you know, and then spend some time on that. And then go into your motivation. This is where I really want to see some real engagement. Since we're going to be focusing on this topic for not only projects 2, but also 3, and then even 4, you got to want to pick a topic that you're going to be able to maintain an interest in throughout the course of the next several weeks, as I mentioned in the previous video. So something that's very fascinating to you or exciting to you. Maybe it's something that has to do with career or your current major, or just anything in your normal social sphere that you have a lot of interest in, essentially. So you want to start thinking about things like that, what you already know about those things, and then why you're interested. So avoid descriptors like, well, I'm interested in this because I like it, or because it makes me feel happy or powerful. Those are good starts. Those are good general broad umbrella sort of terms. So you really want to get more specific with those ideas, and then we're going to get into the body of the paper. You're going to get into using the Wayne State Library databases to look for secondary sources. Yes, we can use Google as well, but we'll talk more about relevant secondary sources in a little while. But you're basically going to be answering your own questions or looking for your own answers to your questions through these secondary sources. Okay, so it's not going to be coming just from your own personal experience. You're going to be combining that with what other people, reputable news sources and sites have written about your topic as well. And then a conclusion, basically in a nutshell, what you learned. It should be composed of an explanation or summary of what you learned through the research, as well as what you learned about research in general. So what you learned about navigating different sites on the Wayne State database or through online. Again, we'll get into that more when we look at the student examples. And then real quick here at the end, 1,500 to 2,000 words. So just in a nutshell, that's kind of what to expect from the iSearch paper. If you have any other questions, read over the assignment description and then shoot me an email, and I'll be able to help you out. So real quick, I wanted to look at a couple of student examples. So here's one. This is just to give you an idea of the style and the tone of the writing. So as I mentioned, this is more of narrative, first person style, as opposed to the more academic or formal third person style that you might be used to from English 1020 or from high school writing. So you just note here in the second sentence, in this essay, I intend to do just that. The topic I will research is mental illness. The research that will drive my research. I will also dive into a question. I have chosen a topic dealing with mental disorders. So you can just see as you kind of scroll through here the constant emphasis on the use of the I. Okay, so you wanna take note of that. One thing I wanted to point out here, when you're discussing your navigation process, so in the body of the paper, you're going to have to discuss the process whereby you found your secondary sources. So I'm going to show you a couple of examples, a really good example and one that's not so good. So this is the really good example. So check this over real quick and look at the descriptiveness, look at the specificity of how this student talked about their research process. So they said, my search terms were, quote, all depression and all, quote unquote, young adults or freshmen, not all parents or social media, et cetera, et cetera. So she's basically talking about here the search terms that she put into the taskbars, if you will, on ProQuest. And then she gets into this. When I enter this into ProQuest, I changed search criteria to only scholarly journals and condensed the time frame from 2000 to 2015. With these restrictions, I was able to narrow my search to 668 results. So you can kind of see here where she's getting very, very descriptive with the process itself. Now compare this to another student who in the same section wrote, my research began with a simple Google search. However, this didn't give me the information I was looking for. Mostly results I received were articles about how the results of the research, et cetera, et cetera. So, further down here we see I did just a general search, typing in quote unquote concussions, traumatic brain injury. So you can see where they're getting a little bit descriptive here, but the first sentence, my research began with a simple Google search. They're not really talking about what they typed, what they clicked, where they navigated, things of that nature to really walk through a person on their navigation process who may be unfamiliar with it. So avoid being overgeneralized. I'm looking for descriptiveness and specificity in all aspects of this project, but most specifically within this navigation process. So that's just a general primer for the iSearch paper. And then in the next video, I will go over our first activity for this week. Thanks.